welcome to today's episode on the Fashion Fables podcast. I hope you guys are having a wonderful fall season, and I know the weather's changing where I live in Jersey, but I'm in school in Pennsylvania, so it's colder here than in New Jersey, but it's still around the same temperatures, around like in the high 50s, 60s, like that's more fallish weather, so I've been enjoying it. Definitely need a coat and stuff, and it's definitely nice to transition to that fall fashion, because I love fall fashion, and it's probably my favorite weather to dress for. I love the sherpas, the jackets, cardigans, jeans, all that stuff, and it's been just really nice to kind of explore more what I like to wear in the fall, and kind of like mixing and matching what I already have can actually help me come up with a bunch of creative and new outfits. So I hope you guys are feeling the same. And one thing that I want to invest in is like a pair of mules, because I think they're so chic and like can really like put together like an outfit really nicely for the fall. Like they're more of a business casual look, but I really like the pointy like toe and like just like the shape of the shoe. It's like my style, so hopefully soon I can have a pair of mules. I know Steve Madden has like a lot that I've been looking at, but it's just like a matter of like finding what I want for like a reasonable price that are gonna like be comfortable, that I'm gonna wear a lot, and that are gonna be like worth the money. So that's that. And then so today, like, I want to transition into like a different type of episode, because when I do these solo episodes, I kind of want you guys to get the most out of them. And so I thought that maybe doing an episode with the topic that I'm going to talk about today would actually be really helpful, just for anybody, somebody that likes fashion, somebody that doesn't, like literally just like it's more of like a general kind of thing. And so today I'm going to be chatting about like what it's like to be a podcaster, and like just kind of like the behind the scenes, like how I kind of find the balance between like everything that I have going on while still like being consistent, like posting and like stuff like that. And I think that this episode can be helpful for anyone maybe interested in beginning a podcast, maybe curious to know how, and maybe like the first steps, and maybe like just my story, so maybe I'll influence or inspire someone. So basically I started podcasting in November it hasn't even been a year actually. My 1 year anniversary will be in a month. Oh my gosh, I just realized that. But I started my podcast in November and really didn't have a clear direction of where it was going. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to start it because I think it'll be something I enjoy. I always like talking in front of an audience, like blah, blah, blah. I was never like afraid to public speak. Like that was just always something that I guess came just more easy to me. And so I had like to do a project for like a class, and like I ended up doing a podcast because like my professor was like, oh, be creative with it, you don't have to do the traditional essay. So I was like, okay, wonderful, let me maybe step outside of my comfort zone and maybe try something new. So I decided to do a podcast, and it was really like fun, and I just like enjoyed it from the start. And so that assignment kind of sparked my like, okay, like this is something I want to do, where do I start? Like I wanted to make it professional, and I wanted to make it an outlet where I was able to share and help others and inspire others on topics that I feel passionate about, because I think the best thing to do when you're starting a podcast is to find something that you enjoy and really hone in on that, because that's something that you're going to know a lot about. That's something you're going to be able to share a lot about, like tip-wise, like advice-wise, whatever, facts-wise with your audience. So thinking about what you know and expanding on that will help your audience become engaged in what you're saying, because they'll believe you, they'll know you're genuine, and they'll kind of look forward to hearing what you have to say, if it's on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, or however you choose to set up your schedule. And so I have now come to the point where it's become just something that I really love to do, and it's not really something that I feel like I have to do. I don't feel obligated to create content. I don't feel obligated to record episodes, to reach out to guests, to interview them. Like, none of it feels like an obligation, and that's when I know that is something that I really enjoy, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. And so I stick with it because I really can't see myself like not doing this, because it's become an actual like part of my life. So a little bit behind the scenes of what it's like being a podcaster, and this is just from my personal experience, and I'm sure that other podcasters might have something else to share about how they kind of are a podcaster and what that means to them. But for me, I think that being a podcaster takes dedication, and it's not easy, and there's times where you're busy and you're like, well, I don't have time to record an episode, and you're like worried that you're not going to have people interested in being guests, and then you're kind of like last minute like, well, I need to have a guest for this episode because this is my episode week where it's with a guest. So sometimes there's like angst that comes along with it, but being persistent and like knowing your like point, like knowing your story, knowing why you have a podcast, and knowing like what you want to get out of it will help that like soar. And people will answer you because like they know that they sense you're passionate about it, and people enjoy that. And also people like talking about themselves, like, not to sound like that, but it's like true. So when you're like, oh my gosh, I would love to have you on my podcast, I feel like you'd be a perfect fit, like, this is why, and I would love to talk about your personal fashion style and how you become the best version of yourself. Just like finding areas of common interest that will help your podcast as well as help them kind of grow is what you kind of have to think about to become like, make it beneficial for the both of you. Because like being a podcaster, sometimes it feels like you're reaching out to people and you don't want it to seem like you're just reaching out to get something out of them, because I know I don't like doing that, and I like when I reach out to guests, I want to actually have like a lasting relationship where it's like, okay, we do an episode together, but then like afterwards, like I'm like reaching out to them, maybe asking them for advice or like something, or like signing up on their stories, just like engaging. And so like being a podcaster for me, that can always like cause a little bit of like stress, because I'm like always just want, I guess my personality is like perfectionist, so I'm just always want to make sure that like all my content is being released like the way I like it to look, and like my feed has that like blush neutral aesthetic and like pink tones and stuff like that, because I really care about like how my feed looks, because I think that like the theme you have on your page can kind of like grab more like people to kind of look and kind of like what you're posting, because they'll see that like, oh, like they're consistent, like whatever. And like I really take pride in my color scheme. I think that it kind of makes my page unique, and it makes me me. Like I couldn't imagine me like posting like, I don't know, like green like backgrounds and like stuff like that. And that's like not to say that I don't like the color green, but it's like that's not my brand, and like I'm not gonna stray away from my brand and what my followers already know, that like what I stand for and stuff like that. So I think that's important. And then like sometimes like being a podcaster, like I have the thoughts of like just like making sure that everything I'm posting is like just like I guess consistent, like my stories, I'm just the type of person that like most of the things that I take pictures of are in my same like theme, like going like cafes, and like I'll post that. And like I think just like finding like what makes you happy, and then like your audience will kind of pick up on that too, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, like this reminds me of you, and something like that. And so like I like to be consistent like what I post. So like I'll post a lot of like cafe and like coffee, because like I go for more of like that artsy vibe on like my page. Like I like being aesthetic and stuff like that. So I kind of want my feed to look like a Pinterest board, so hopefully it comes across like that. But yeah, so I kind of just want to stay consistent, so I'll post like cafes and like lattes, and like I like latte art, so I'll post that. And then I'll post like my fashion like outfit of the days, or like if I'm in a boutique or like a store, like I'll post like maybe some things that I think are cute, and then I like to do polls because I think those are a really good way to engage with all of you guys and kind of just find out what you guys are liking from my page and like what maybe I can improve on and things like that, because I love hearing from you all. And like maybe like what I'm doing, or I don't know, just like literally anything that I feel goes along with my page, like with fashion. Basically I post anything that has to do with fashion, healthy lifestyle, like neutral fashion, stuff like that. And I like to inspire you guys, so I like to post maybe like inspirational quotes or like reshare posts that I think that can leave a lasting impact. So that's a little bit behind like how I kind of run my page and all that stuff. I like to release episodes every Saturday because I just like that day, and it's worked for me this far. Like I'm able to edit during the week and then release an episode on Saturday. So I found kind of my groove, so I hope that for anyone listening, I think it's just all about finding your groove. Just taking that first step to like start the podcast and like seeing it grow is like an amazing feeling, and just not being afraid to reach out to people, because you know they might answer but they might not, and if they don't then it's okay, because there's always, I don't know, someone else that'll eventually answer. So just be patient, and if it's something you really want to do, then I really encourage you to do it. And about like the time balance thing, it's really just become more like you have to just find the time for it. Kind of just schedule an interview maybe when you have like an hour break or something like that. And sometimes it's like you have to just make sacrifices for it because it's something you want to pursue and it's something that you really like doing. And so I feel as if I've come a long way as a podcaster, and I'm excited to see where, you know, more opportunities take me. I'm trying to venture out into more international guests, because I've found that it's really interesting to be able to learn about another part of the world, another part of how fashion works in maybe like an international country and things like that. So that's been really fun. So just follow your passion, and I'm confident that you'll be successful if you kind of just stay on your path and really hone into what you want to do without kind of letting external kind of cues or opinions validate what you're trying to accomplish. So yeah, this is a little bit behind like my thoughts as a podcaster, how I kind of go about what I post and things like that. Obviously, like it's not everything, but there's also like just like little things that I just do personally that maybe other people don't. So I don't kind of want to overshare, because I know that everyone finds different ways to kind of make themselves successful as a podcaster. So yeah, whatever works for you. And also, if you guys ever have questions about what I do or you want to learn more about it, you can always reach out to me and things like that. But I actually hope that this was very informative, because I think it was cool to kind of talk about more about like the podcasting side of it, because I don't really talk about that too much. And one last thing is that I record my episodes over Zoom because I just enjoy it, and I press record so that I have the audio file and like all of that, and then I export it and I edit it, and then, you know, we go from there. So, and I also like to make graphics and stuff like that because it's super fun to me, and it kind of makes my page unique. So I hope that you guys have a really enjoyable day or night whenever you're listening to this. And as always, if you need anything, feel free to reach out, or if you have any suggestions for me for episodes, I would love to hear. So yeah, keep being you and keep persisting in your dreams. Bye everyone.